Destiny 2 Lightfall, these are my full thoughts. Let's just get right into it. So first thing I want to say is that I went into Lightfall with absolutely no expectations whatsoever. I've not been aboard a Destiny hype train in many years now, after I was disappointed with Shadowkeep and then very disappointed with Beyond Light, which led to me taking a break from the game for about a year, but then the Witch Queen brought me back, because it was actually pretty good, and it gave me hope that Destiny's future could be promising. But then I saw the Lightfall reveal trailer, and it just felt a bit off to me. My initial reaction was, okay, this feels like Destiny trying to bank on the popularity of the cyberpunk aesthetic and style, and it really felt out of place to me for a Destiny expansion, and was nothing like what the original Lightfall was kind of advertised as. I know it was only the one image, but it sure did give players a certain idea of what to expect. Now flash forward to some very recent months and I still had not boarded the hype train despite Bungie's very ramped up marketing and the player base making claims like, this is our Infinity War moment and this is basically Destiny 3. And at this point you'd think players would be wise to the this expansion is Destiny 3 idea after that was pushed endlessly with Beyond Light. But hype is even more blinding than nostalgia, so of course players fell for it again. Now, the player base is not entirely to blame here. Bungie does not do a good job at tempering expectations. In fact, they purposely do the exact opposite. They hyped up Lightfall more than any previous expansion. They sold us on big reveals, big promises, and made sure to charge more than any previous year for the deluxe edition. Really trying to tell us that, yeah, this is gonna be a big one. But here we are now. Lightfall is out, and it fell extremely short of players' expectations, astronomically so. Now like I said, I went in with no expectations, so maybe this is the reason that I'm actually personally quite enjoying Lightfall. But whoa, hold on. I have many problems with Lightfall, and I can easily say I do not recommend you pick it up right now if you don't have it, but I would be lying if I said I wasn't enjoying some of the Lightfall content. There's things I'm having genuine fun with. So the first thing I'm going to do is give you guys my positives, what I really like about Lightfall. Then of course, I'll give you guys my negatives, and there is certainly no shortage of those. Alright, so positive, first up, the campaign. From purely a gameplay perspective, I really enjoyed the missions. So I played the entire campaign solo on Legendary, and from what I've seen and heard so far, those who played in a fire team on Legendary did not feel as positively about it, which maybe leads me to believe that the mission design was more suited for the solo experience, which I've kind of always felt Destiny campaigns play better solo, to be honest. And for me, the solo experience in Lightfall's campaign was a lot of fun. There were some genuinely difficult missions and boss fights, some pretty cool spectacle moments. The tormentors were a lot of fun to fight. I know some people have pretty much found ways to cheese them by hopping up and down ledges and suppressing them, but I didn't do any of that. I fought them head on, and I really liked the challenge that they presented. And the biggest highlights for me, again purely from the gameplay perspective, was first, the obstacle course time trial mission with Strand. It was pretty tough, but it felt good to beat after a few tries. I just really liked using Strand to avoid the enemies and the red barrier and grappling to enemies on the ledges that were sniping at me. It was just a pretty cool, fun challenge mission that can thankfully be replayed at will, which is nice. I thought that was pretty sweet. And the second highlight is the Downfall mission and the final boss fight inside that arena. Another just fun, challenging, and intense mission. And the final highlight was the Callus fight, the final boss. Now I know people are pretty split on their thoughts with Callus, but for me, I loved this fight solo. I've heard it kind of sucks on a fire team, but solo Legendary was intense. Having to use Strand to the best of my abilities, swinging around the arena, clearing off the platforms of Cabal, fighting tormentors, all while trying to deal damage to Callus. It was again, very challenging, but so rewarding, and it's easily my favorite campaign boss fight in Destiny 2, as far as gameplay goes. Like Savathun's fight looked much better, but this one is far more fun to me. The new strike, Hypernet Current, is one of the best strikes in the game, hands down. It was lengthy, it was unique, had some pretty cool narrative and lore implications, the Sparrow racetrack is cool, and again, it's challenging. Now if you haven't noticed, I keep emphasizing the challenge in Lightfall's content, and it's because I think it's the best quality of life change that's been made for Lightfall. The increased difficulty to every bit of content in the game, from patrol to strikes to the missions, all of it feels so much better than just stomping through everything like we've become accustomed to. and I'd say it's probably the biggest reason I'm enjoying the gameplay in Lightfall. It actually requires you to think and react quick and stay on your toes. And look, it's by no means insanely difficult. It's still very simple, to be honest. Destiny 2 is still not a very challenging game, but it's more engaging than previous Destiny 2 releases. And I feel it's about on par with Destiny 1's difficulty, which is fantastic to me and something I've been wanting to see come to Destiny 2 for a very long time now. You know, that D1 base level difficulty. And maybe you don't agree with me here, but I think that the increased challenge for all content in Lightfall is a big plus. So Neomuna is not perfect, and we'll go into the many problems I have with it in a moment, but I gotta say that the one thing I love about it is the Terminal Overload event. It feels very similar to the Season of the Haunted Nightmare containments, which is an activity I actually enjoyed until I got sick of doing it for the Reaper title grind. But again, because of this increased challenge, it feels like a genuine world boss style event, which is something else I've been wanting to see added to a new patrol zone. And it's not perfect, but I do hope we see more things like this moving forward. This is a fantastic addition. Post-campaign missions. Mostly underwhelming, but I did really like the exotic machine gun quest set in the Black Garden. We actually got some useful lore that helps tell the story of what the hell is going on, at least a little bit better. Gave us a bit more context, so I guess that was a bonus. But again, most of the post-campaign stuff is pretty bog standard and kind of meh. The loadouts are pretty cool. No complaints really there, just good to finally see that in the game. The artifact mods being passive has got to be one of the best quality of life changes by far. It just eliminates some of that tedium when swapping mods. Fantastic change there. Now my big last real positive is Strand. Now I have not played on my Titan or Warlock yet, but Strand for the Hunter is a lot of fun to me. From doing just the basic grapple to an enemy and melee combo, to picking up orbs and throwing them into the sky and latching onto them with the grapple hook, or to the super itself and how fun it is to combine with that grapple movement, I'm having a blast with Strand. I cannot deny it. It's tons of fun. And it's actually pretty strong. And I know day one impressions were that it might be worse than our light subclasses, but especially now with all the fragments unlocked and using it a bit more, I think it's pretty damn deadly. The cooldown for grapple had me worried at first, but thankfully there's a fragment that drastically recharges the cooldown just by dealing damage, so that makes it much better. And for me, post-campaign, endgame grinding, Strand has been incredibly addicting. Okay, so to summarize the positives, 1, the game is challenging again, which makes it way more engaging and rewarding to play. 2, the missions of the campaign were very fun to play through. I have few complaints gameplay-wise in terms of the boss fights and the enemy encounters. 3, the passive artifact mods and loadouts. And 4, Strand has been so much fun for me. Much more enjoyable than Stasis. Alright, now time for the negatives. The story. This is one of the absolute worst campaign stories ever told in the Destiny franchise. This is on par with Warmind and Curse of Osiris storytelling. Completely nonsensical, forced Marvel humor, a comically stupid and contrived plot, infinite plot holes that make you question if the story was written by ChatGPT. Now look, I'm not a lore expert, but from what I've gathered, based on my casual consumption of Destiny lore content and reading around, Neomuna and its existence has led to a bunch of retcons and rewriting of the lore. And I know they've given a bunch of explanations to try and explain those problems away, but I just don't really think they're good explanations. And Neomuna itself just feels so disconnected from Destiny's universe to me. Like I really believe Bungie was just trying to cash in on the cyberpunk aesthetic hype while they could, so they just kind of threw Neomuna together. And yeah, it kind of looks cool on the surface, but it feels like a fever dream or something while I'm exploring there. Like it just feels like I'm in a simulation, like I'm not actually in the Destiny universe while I'm exploring Neomuna. I just really don't like Neomuna narratively or thematically for Destiny. Feel free to disagree, but I don't like it. Now kind of back to the story, I don't want to be spending too long bitching about the narrative because there's been so much of that from people much more knowledgeable than me on the story and the lore, but here is my 2 cents. Cloudstriders are not interesting to me at all, and this is again likely due to the fact that I'm not interested in the story of Neomuna as a whole, and they're of course tied directly to its backstory, but also Rohan is the only tolerable Cloudstrider, and he dies like 15 minutes after we meet him, and then we are left with Nimbus, one of the most annoying and unlikable characters in Destiny. Nimbus is like if you combined Failsafe, Asher Mir, and Cade 6 into one person, and then hired a bunch of 14-year-olds to write the script. Nimbus completely lacks any self-awareness at all times, never feels like an actual character to me. Like, Nimbus might be the most NPC-like NPC we've ever had in Destiny. Like, they're just some sort of AI hologram. Strand kind of comes out of nowhere. It is not explained at all how or what Strand is. We just find it in the streets of Neomuna, completely randomly. Why? What is it? Nobody knows, but apparently Osiris kind of knows. But this just kind of solidifies that theory to me that it was cut from the Witch Queen, because there is genuinely no explanation of any kind for where it came from or how we obtained it. Bungie literally just plopped it in the street and called it a day and said, yep, that's where Strand comes from. It comes from the streets. Personally, I think Callus was ruined. Like I said, his fight was a lot of fun gameplay-wise, and I did like a few of his cutscenes with the Witness, but as a whole, I feel like Callus was not done justice at all. This dude has been with us for 6 years, always an interesting character behind the scenes that talks to us and reveals interesting things. His lore became super badass and cool, but when we finally see him in-game, actually in-game for the first time, by the way, he looks extremely underwhelming for one thing, compared to his concept art at least, and for two, he went out like a complete loser, being a simp for the Witness. There was no payoff to the history of his character. He just went out with a whimper, gone forever, just like that. All of his questions left unanswered, for now at least, and overall I'm just super sad to see a great character go out like this. Obviously the big one, the Veil, and the story of the campaign just as a whole makes as much sense as vanilla Destiny 1, meaning it made no sense at all, and the whole time we're chasing after the Veil, nobody tells us what it is, but everyone seems to know what it is. Why are we constantly doing training sessions with Strand while this attack on the Traveler's going down? What is this radial mast, and why did Rohan sacrifice himself to destroy it? Why did the Witness want that? What did it do exactly? How does the Witness use our ghost to link to the Veil while he's a million miles away up in space? And how does that turn the Veil into a super laser? Like, this is actual 4th grade level writing. Like a little kid writing his first ever sci-fi story after seeing Star Wars or something. Nothing made sense at all about Lightfall's campaign story. And the worst part is, Bungie's answer for those disappointed is, we'll answer those questions about the Witness and the Veil in the next few seasons. So your $50 campaign is just a third of the story, and then the next third is in the next few seasons, and the last third is the final shape. So if you play Destiny for the story, Lightfall is an actual scam. It really is that disrespectful to fans. The next major negative is the lack of content. It is again another year with 0 PvP maps, 0 maps or changes for Gambit, and only 1 strike. The reason Bungie keeps getting away with giving us less and less content is because there is never enough pushback when they ask $50 for expansions that give us almost nothing to the core playlists. I've been saying it since Shadowkeep. Core activity content needs to be a focus. But instead, we've gotten less and less core content each year since Shadowkeep, and the cost of the expansion increases each year. The literal definition of paying more for less. And this is one of the biggest reasons I cannot recommend you purchase Lightfall, because if you want some of the good stuff like the quality of life improvements, or even if you wanted to explore Neomuna, that's all free with the update. Hell, even the new strike is free. But right now, $50 will get you the campaign and Strand. And of course the raid coming out soon. But $40 used to get you a campaign, new supers, 8 PvP maps, 4 strikes, a raid, vendor refreshes, world loot pool refreshes, brand new armor sets for Trials and Iron Banner, lengthy post-campaign campaigns like Wolves of Mars, which was pretty much a mini campaign tacked on top of the Taken King campaign. But Lightfall can best be described as a $50 season. It is seasonal content in every sense of the word, and it is not even close to being worth $50. Now, 2 old strikes got reworked, the Arms Dealer and the Lake of Shadows. The Arms Dealer is mostly the same, just a bit more tedious, and the Lake of Shadows is also mostly the same. There's some new enemies changed throughout the strike, but now you need to push 2 payloads in the beginning.
Oh my god, no!
Now, the idea of reworking strikes is a good one, and it's an idea I've been pushing for a while. Bungie did it in Destiny 1, and they reworked some of the old strikes into much better versions of themselves. But with Destiny 2, they have put such little effort into making meaningful changes that the strikes actually became worse than before, to most people. This is definitely pretty disappointing. It really does just feel like this is last minute kind of thrown together reworks. I just really wish we could see more effort, because this is very disappointing to see, these strike reworks. Guardian Ranks is the new ranking system that was advertised as a way to differentiate players between those who are veteran players and those who are noobs, and this was a decent idea that would also help new players learn the ropes through its kind of early tutorial level style challenges prior to getting rank 6, and veteran players could theoretically show off their accomplishments by being a higher rank. However, with how Bungie has implemented this system, there is no way to tell the difference between someone with 1,000 raid clears and 4,000 hours played compared to a dude with 2 raid clears and 100 hours played. Both of those people are rank 6 right now, and ranking up past rank 6 is an absolutely idiotic slog of a grind, which makes Guardian Ranks absolutely meaningless because each season, everyone gets reset back to rank 6. Who greenlit this? Who approved this? Guardian Ranks are fucking pointless. The fact that this is Guardian Ranks, the thing they hyped up so many times in their Vidocs and their live stream reveal, what is this, Bungie? This is
Bullshit!
Completely useless, pointless. What a disappointment. Next, let's talk about the reskinned content. So not everyone cares about the reskinned weapons, and if it doesn't bother you, that's totally fine, I get it. But I think the reason it bothers so many of us is not just because the weapons have the same model, but because the guns feel the exact same when they have the same model. Like for instance, when we get new weapon models, it also usually comes along with a brand new gunshot sound, at least most of the time, and usually a different reticle or scope on the gun, and the stats of the weapon make it feel different and new, even if it's not that much different from a weapon we're used to. But for me, using these Neo Muna weapons just feel and sound like old weapons because they are old weapons. And I really do like hearing new sounds or using new reticles or scopes. And yes, seeing a new model in my hands. It's not the end of the world that these Neo Muna guns are reskins, but also it is pretty bad that 90% of the weapons are reskins in a $50 expansion. And I think people are justified if they're annoyed with that. Alright, so there's 2 things I wanted to mention that I'm pretty undecided on right now, and that is exotics and build crafting / mods. So the exotics right now I need more time to mess around with and use, because so far the Verglis curve bow from the season pass isn't really my cup of tea, but maybe I'm just using it wrong. It just kind of feels gimmicky to me. Deterministic Chaos is a pretty fun machine gun, and I think it's alright for simple content, but I don't see myself using it in endgame stuff. And the Winterbite Heavy Glaive is actually pretty sick. I think it'll become a staple at least temporarily for me. I think it's pretty cool. The exotic armor, I can only comment on the Hunter exotics and both of them are pretty neat, but again, I just need more time with them so I can kind of go in depth on build crafting with them. But so far, the speedloader slacks fit my playstyle pretty well, which leads me to build crafting. This is something that I again need more time on because right now it feels like a lot of the more popular and strong builds pretty much disappeared, and I for sure felt the effects of that with my own favorite builds. But also there are some interesting potential for new types of builds to take place, especially when combined with the new passive artifact mods. So again, just need more time on this one. But in conclusion, overall, Lightfall, the big conclusion here. I enjoyed the gameplay of the missions in the Lightfall campaign on Legendary. Strand is hella fun right now, and it's quickly becoming a favorite subclass. I can see myself enjoying it long term and using it in endgame content very consistently. Quality of life improvements, there's some pretty good ones. Good new world boss activity, and a fantastic new strike. There really is some genuine fun to be had in Lightfall, but its shortcomings far outweigh the strengths. It has one of the worst stories ever told, full of cheesy characters and dialogue, plot holes, unanswered questions, and just has a massive lack of content for the price tag. The quality of life stuff, that's all free. But what was included in the $50 expansion purchase was not worth it, in my opinion. One strike, no PvP maps, Gambit not even mentioned. And the reason I keep bringing this up is I have already done all the post-campaign stuff for Lightfall. I've done everything Lightfall has to offer, except for the raid. So the only thing for me to do right now is get my power level up and try out some new builds. That's it. And I'm hoping the raid is good. But for now, it kind of sucks that I'm running the strike playlist or playing PvP or even Gambit. That's all there is to kind of do. And all of that is old content for the third year in a row now. The core playlist content in a $50 expansion is just extremely lacking. We gotta keep talking about it, we gotta keep bringing it up if we want to see it changed. At this point, 3 years deep, where this has been consistent, it probably won't get changed, but I'm not gonna stop talking about it. It is an issue. So, obviously I did not talk about Season of Defiance content. I'll probably make a separate video about that one, since this has already gone on for so long. But I'm curious to hear your thoughts on Lightfall. What are you thinking so far that we're almost a week in? It's been quite a roller coaster this week, seeing all the backlash and the controversy surrounding Lightfall. But if you liked this video and enjoyed it, subscribe for more. I'll see you guys in the next one.